1981, Bobby Beathard was the general manager of the Washington Redskins. I'm coaching the Skins. And in our draft, Bobby had a way of getting absolutely excited about a player. It was intuitive. He would get going, and I mean, you could not change his mind. And he brought up a receiver, Charlie Brown. And we started taking a look at him, and can you believe it that we drafted Charlie in the 8th round, down that far? Okay, so us coaching, we get Charlie at our place, and immediately Charlie was a big hit. Think about this, 1982, Charlie Brown goes to the Pro Bowl, we win a Super Bowl. 1983, we go back to the Super Bowl again, and Charlie Brown goes to another Pro Bowl, making plays all over the place, making us look good on offense. Okay, 2 Super Bowls, and Charlie, all of a sudden, with the players and the press and everyone else, he gets the nickname Downtown Charlie Brown. And of course, that is a huge deal for a football coach, because when you design plays, we want somebody that can put it in the end zone, and Charlie could do that. 6 seasons in the NFL, 220 receptions, 3,540 yards, 25 TDs. What a career. And I got to tell you something. The best part of all that was Charlie Brown as a person. Great smile. Every time he looked at you, real team guy, cared about the team, and he was just a big part of the Redskins. And he was the kind of guy that, as a player, kept me in a job. 1989, Charlie, after he got out of the NFL, switched gears a little bit, became an educator, a certified educator, and his big deal was to give back to kids. And I really applaud that. Charlie has free camps for kids. And I think he's had that in the Low Country, and he plans on expanding that. I encourage him in every way. And it's a thrill for me to have coached him. And I got to tell you, as a person, is somebody that I really respect, and I consider him a friend. Go Downtown Charlie Brown.
Good evening. All right. With great power comes great responsibility. This timeless quote typically is associated with the classic American superhero, Superman, but it also sums up the way I view my dad, Charlie Brown. I always look to my dad for guidance and support, and wouldn't be the man I am today without him. So with that being said, it's always ironic when I tell my dad it's Charlie Brown, and they respond with, like the cartoon character. He's always been a larger-than-life figure. Charles Lewis Brown was born in Charleston, South Carolina. He grew up in the small town of Johns Island. As a student athlete at St. John's High School, he excelled on the basketball court and on the football field. He was able to play under legendary coach Bob Bickerstaff, and would eventually go on to play at South Carolina State under Willie Jeffries and help them win multiple championships. As Mr. Gibbs just listed off, he then was drafted in the NFL by the Washington Redskins and played for 6 seasons, 2 Pro Bowls, 2 Super Bowls, 220 receptions, 3,548 yards, and 25 touchdowns. As stellar as my father's career was on the field, his work off the field since has also been extremely impressive and arguably more important. Rather than leading a detached lifestyle focused on personal gain, Charlie Brown has always been one to put others before himself. He has spent his life after coaching, teaching, and mentoring players from elementary school to high school to college and to players playing on Sundays. He has made a positive and impactful change in the lives of young men that have been discarded and labeled as troubled youth. When parents aren't able to drive their kids to and from practice, or school isn't able to provide the basic necessities for a productive high school program, my dad willingly steps in to fill the gaps of what has been provided and what is needed. He's helped countless young men realize the dream of being the first in their family to attend college through positive reinforcement and teaching productive work habits like focus, discipline, resilience, and encouraging self-confidence. He started our family's foundation, the Brown McConnell Foundation, with the sole purpose of giving back to youth of underserved communities by providing things like free lunch, tutoring, free football camps, and after-school activities. My dad has always put his family first and has always been there for my brother Charles and I. For example, even after a full week of practice and a Friday night game, he regularly drove 8 hours through the night to come watch me play and rarely missed a game of mine. He's a caring husband to his wife Tanya, a kind brother to his 8 siblings, and a loving son to his proud mother Anna. I could literally talk all day about my dad because he's my dad, but I won't. However, I will say I don't know anyone more deserving and who has earned the right on and off the field to be a part of the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame. So without further ado, it is both my honor and great pleasure to introduce Charlie Brown.
I just want to make sure I got my notes, and I do have on my glasses. Well, thank you so much, son. I'm really proud of you for everything that you've done, and Charles. And you know, a lot of people don't know this, but Dabo Sweeney and I go back to his days at Alabama. He played with my nephew Curtis Brown when Gene Stallings was the head football coach over there. And Dabo Sweeney, when Marquise was a junior, coming out of Episcopal High School in Virginia, Dabo Sweeney offered my son a full scholarship, and saw Dabo last night, and I said that I'm always going to be indebted to your life for what you did for my son. You know, however, he went to play for Mark Rick and the Georgia Bulldogs. But a little disappointed, because I was really looking for him to be a Tiger. But life goes on, and he's a special kid. He had 3 degrees by the age of 26. He's in finance, studied abroad, and I'm very proud of him. Coach Jeffries, you don't have that flag for talking too long, right? Okay. There's so much I want to say, but just let me start off by saying that there's so many people that have truly paved the way for me. And, you know, I will mention these people in my lives. And I have so many people that's here to attend this glorious achievement, along with all the other inductees. My in-laws and my friends from Florence, South Carolina. Could you guys please stand at this table? My mother-in-law, Mrs. Brown. Darren and his wife Sonia. Darren is in law enforcement, and Florence, South Carolina, does a great job serving. Kevin Moore, my man, and Susan. Kevin is a lawyer, and he's from Greenville, South Carolina, so it's a special thing to have him here. My family in which I grew up, you guys don't mind standing. My brother, his wife Margie, my sister Flory, my brother Chris, Alice, and one thing about my brother Chris, you know, as soon as he got it, I thought he was all excited about seeing me and talking to me. He said, "Charlie, where's Deshaun Watson? Is he going to be here?" He's a big fan of Deshaun Watson, and I'll introduce some people later on, but these people right here are very special in my life. You know, anytime you have a road to success, there's a path, you know, that is paid for you, already paid for you. And the first person I want to really thank is Coach Bob Biggerstaff. Coach Biggerstaff, if you don't mind standing. Coach Biggerstaff, at the time he retired from coaching, he was the 3rd most winningest coach in the state of South Carolina. Yeah. Coach Biggerstaff, really special guy in my life. Always will be, and I love you, Coach Biggerstaff. And thanks also, Donna, for attending this event with Coach Biggerstaff. Thanks a lot. Coach Willie Jeffries, can you please stand, please? He's the reason why I'm here. You know, why Coach Gibbs said all those special things about me. Coach Jeffries was really, really special in my life, and I'm gonna talk about Coach Jeffries a little later on. And believe it or not, when I first went to South Carolina State, man, I was so afraid of this guy. And he's the most wonderful person, really funny, really canny, and I just wish I knew then, I would have probably looked at him a little different. But Coach, I'm gonna talk about you a little later on. South Carolina State alumni, I see Mr. Williams, one of my instructors. Nice to have you here. It's a pleasure having you here. Dwayne Hopper, South Carolina State alumni, played 12 years in the league. You know, was an awesome player. He said, Dwayne, you don't mind standing? Mrs. Jeffries was just like a mother on campus to all of us. And we are very proud. And of course, my beautiful wife, Tanya. Do you mind standing, sweetheart? Keeps me in check, and that's the reason why I'm dressed so nicely, because of that. Thank you very much, sweetheart. I love you. I want to make sure I don't leave anybody else out. Kurt Brown, stand up, Alabama, national champion in 1992. Had a short stint with the Baltimore Ravens. Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm mentioning everybody. You know, growing up on Johns Island in Charleston, there's 3 things you have to do. You have to go to church, okay? You can't be the last one at the dinner table because you're not going to get any food, especially being in a family of 8. And I know this is really funny, this 3rd one. But you better be a fast sucker to run away from black snakes, honestly. And I know a lot of people don't believe that, but we had this ritual. May 1st, you're going to get chased by a black snake. We lived in a long dirt road, and I always had on my running shoes. That's one of the reasons why I was considered to be so fast. As I said before, Coach Biggerstaff really set the tone for me. I mean, he really did. And I thank him. I think a lot of times high school coaches don't actually get the praise that they deserve, because they really set the tone for young men to be successful in life, just not to play football, but in life. And I thank you very much. And then there's South Carolina State University. You know, that's where I really found myself as a man. You know, it wasn't just football. It was not just football. And Coach Jeffries' epitome is the epitome of greatness, you know, of mentoring kids and making sure they're going to do what they're supposed to do academically, and then if football is in their path, you know, he leads by an example. Now, 2 things I can say about South Carolina State. The first thing, you're going to get a great education, hands down. Okay, because South Carolina State is like a family, was like a family. Everybody knew each other on campus, you know, and instructors worked with you diligently, very good. And then the second thing is, there's football. Okay, we consider ourselves to be NFL ready. Okay, when you talk of likes like Harry Carson, Marion Motley, Deacon Jones, Dexter Klingskill, who's a Greenville native, and so many of the great athletes at South Carolina State, John Gilliam, okay? We were considered NFL ready. A lot of things that people don't know about South Carolina State. We were the first football team in the state of South Carolina to win a national championship in football. 1976. And we won 3. And we won 3. My senior year, we had 6 people to make it in the NFL. We were the second most on the East Coast. The University of Pittsburgh had 11, and South Carolina State was second with 6. The 5 years I was at South Carolina State on offense, we had 8 people to make it in the NFL on offense at different positions and 11 on defense. We were a dominant team. You know, we were what you would call the Clemson, the Alabamas. That's what we were. And we are very proud of that. If I had to do it all over again, Coach Jeffries, it would be the Bulldogs, okay? And I want to thank you for setting the tone and encouraging and mentoring so many of our great athletes. I'm not going to talk very long. I know I've been up here for a while. But one thing I do want to share with you guys, and then I'll be off and running. I want to share a poem that I wrote. And actually, I did a pretty good job. You know, and what this poem is about all the people who have been a cog in my life, who have really uplifted me to the highest, from my community, from my coaches, from my family, from my brothers and sisters. Everybody's included in this. The great state of South Carolina, the great city of Charleston, Johns Island, Mumlaw, St. John, South Carolina State. This poem is going to display what you were all about and the reason why I was successful. The road of my career. The road I walked had such a beautiful path, filled with moms, dads, uncles, aunts, brothers, and sisters that I had. Coaches were there too, as the skies turned blue. The way I was taught was to love all, including white and black, and maybe someday I'll be able to give it all back. The light I captured was certainly a gift, wrapped with honor, and the things that certainly will give you a lift. Discipline, attitude, and passion too was some of the intangibles that lifted me through. At an early age, this was so important to find a love to inspire and to create a passion with desire. The game of a team shaped by books and cleats became a fast-growing fame. The passion to be the best was my drive to survive. The pain for gain, the love from above, the chances we take, the muscles that ache. This was part of our success that will never let you rest. Filled with love and such passion was the road of my career. I was taught by those to never have any fear. Knowing I had a team that all worked the same would land me here in the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame. So farewell to all of my fans in the red and black and the burgundy and gold. To my favorite and #1 fan, my brother, Captain T. Continue to rest your soul in the burgundy and gold. Love you, brother. Thank you, guys.